Welcome, guys, to the first episode of our podcast. Today's all about Quinn.
Oh, brilliant.
Quinn's business, Quinn's program, Quinn's life. So we are in December. I think there's 2 or 3 weeks left of the year.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me your 3 reflections or lessons from 2022, because I know it's been a big year for you. What have you learned? What have you realised? Anything?
Oh my goodness me. Biggest reflections is that if you want to grow a business or just personal growth, you have to work on it. Like, you have to put the time and the effort into it. Otherwise, like, manifesting it and saying, I want this, doesn't work. Like, so I set out at the start of the year, I was like, I want to grow my online coaching. And I sat down and I spent literally the whole of January building up my Google Sheets tracker, like the program. And then from there, literally just built it up. Clients were saying, oh, this is good, but it would be good if you add this. And so I put so much time and effort into the program and the service that I was bringing. And now, obviously, 12 months later, now in a completely different personal business, like the space I'm in now is just, I wouldn't have even thought I'd be here.
So rather than just setting the intention, you realise that it's taking action that actually gets you there.
100%. You have to take control of your life and you can't just let it rag you about. You need to just own everything that you do and be like, I know that the more effort I put in, the more I'll get out of it. And until you understand that and until someone sees the benefit in that, they'll just, everything will happen for a reason. And it's like, yeah, you can believe that. But if you got up and went to the gym and ate healthy that day, you're going to progress further than if you were to sit there doing nothing. And so sitting there and going, oh, everything happens for a reason. Maybe when I'm meant to get in shape, I will. And it's like, just do it today.
So you've learned that about your business and you can apply that to your clients' journeys now.
Yeah. So I make sure, like, when I check in with my clients every day, I make sure that they are doing everything that they need to each and every day. Like, and that's why my clients are getting the results that they are, because it's not just weekly check-in. Oh, you did all right. Let's try again next week. It's, did you do well? Like, have you smashed today? Yes. How are we going to build on that tomorrow? How are we going to continue the consistency? And at the end of the week, we can say, we did this well, we could have done this a little bit better, and that's how we're going to improve next week.
Okay, so fair enough that you've applied that you need to be taking action to your business and the steps that you'd need to take every day to keep pushing that business forward. But, like, personally, is there anything you've realised that you have to take action on instead of just having the intention to be better?
That you, like, for me, I almost, that's a tough one. Personally, I am not very good at being like, and not doing anything. So growing a business works well for me because I'm like, I have the drive and I have the passion for the job to get to do what's necessary to progress. But, like, personally, I mean, I've realised that I need to calm down a little bit.
Why though? Because obviously it's beneficial for you to be that way. So what's the cost of never slowing down?
Well, there's burnout at the end of it. Like,
is that something that you feel a lot?
I don't. This is the thing. Like, if I said to one person, if I said I was feeling burnt out, they'd be like, "No, you're not." But then someone might. And then I have other people saying to me, you need to calm down, otherwise. So it's like everyone says something different, and when I need it black or white.
But are you aware of when you are burnt out? Because
no.
You're not aware of it.
No.
So do you just think I'm tired?
I'm just like, yeah.
Or do you just stop, like, functioning? Because I can say, that's it, I'm burnt out. I know exactly the point when I'm burnt out. Are you aware yet of when?
I'm just like, oh, my body's failing me.
So you think you're failing instead of...
Yeah, I'm just like, what have I done wrong today that, I can't do a full 16-hour days? work and I'm like, oh, I didn't have enough carbs last night, or the workout I did was tiring. It's like, but really I've just non-stop worked.
Yeah, you're not giving credit to the fact that you've just worked 12 days in a row.
Yeah.
And if you were doing that for somebody else, say you're working in a restaurant or something and you did 12 days without a day off, fair enough, you'd say I'm burnt out. But because it's your business, it's almost like it doesn't feel like work.
Yeah, so it's just what I have to do.
So anything else, looking back on the year gone, because it's been a massive year for you, any other points that stand out along the way that you've kind of had those like light bulb moments?
Well, this is like, it's hard. Like my brain doesn't think like that. Like that, like you just asked me that. I can't be like, oh yeah, this was a moment and this was a moment. I'm like, because I'm constantly looking into the future, I'm just like, okay, cool. And then move on to the next.
Without realising how much you've actually evolved.
Yeah. And I like, until people say to me, this is how far you've come, and or like, this is what you've managed to do in a short space of time, I'm just like, I'm not finished yet. And although that's I credit a lot of what I've managed to achieve to that. But again, I said this to my therapist literally the other day. I texted him. I think we'd even had a conversation and I was like, I need to value what I've done. I need to value myself a little bit more, or allow myself to see how far I've come so that I can actually rest a little bit, because I'm just constantly on to the next thing. And like, okay, that's done. Instead of then saying, right, I can relax, I'm like constantly thinking that people want more for me and I need to then push myself, if you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, like there's not a finish line in sight.
No.
And it's a good thing, and it is a good thing because it keeps you driving forward. But you do have to also celebrate like how much you have achieved. Otherwise, what's the point?
No, I know. But then I just feel bad and I feel like it's wasting time. I literally didn't work yesterday. I didn't do my client check-ins. And like I drove up to Liverpool, just was doing bits and pieces, and I genuinely felt so guilty about it. One day on a Thursday, I was like, I can do that on a Sunday, maybe, if I'm lucky, like if I give myself that time. And it's like,
so I was going to ask you, like, for the average person that just comes across your page, the assumption's going to be that you just kind of, you go to the gym, you make a few TikToks, you're super successful. So what are people not seeing? Because you come across so like easygoing, everything's fun, laxy daisy, like we're going to go to the gym, I'm going to walk the dog, do a few bits and bobs, and all of a sudden I've had all this success and I've got the best car ever and it's all good. So what are people not seeing behind the scenes? Because I know what it is, but explain.
Well, like everything I do is now for a reason. Like so I get the gym out of the way early so that then it's not looming over for me to do later. And then if I'm stressed with work, I won't want to go to the gym, and then that's just me, the chance of me going to the gym going. Started walking Rex because he needed a walk, and now I only go for a walk to get my content. So now I'm like, oh, I've got to go and film the content, and then I'll take Rex. Like, it's good because I get the steps and all that. But everything now is focused on the business. Like with the TikToks, people just see me like now. Obviously, with TikTok is a little bit more natural, so it's not as much editing. But even then, like, I'm setting up the camera, I'm writing the script, I'm doing it, I'm editing it. Like, this takes so much more time than people think. And that, yeah, like, as you said, people just see me, I go to the gym and I post my client wins, and then I post it. Like, what people don't understand is, and they think, oh, coaches, they just waltz around all day. They check in once a week with their client. Like, I check in every morning with my clients. I'll message every single one of my clients. Now, even if 50% of those clients don't reply, I've still got them 50% of my clients to reply to. And then if 25% of those people continue a conversation, like, it's a lot more work than people see and think.
Yeah.
And if 3, 4, 5 of them want program changes, then I do that. And then it's 2:00 and I'm like, oh, fuck.
It's an entire business, and you are sales, marketing, content, customer service. Every department that in any other company would be split into teams is all you. Like, that's so much to do, so much to think about, and so much to prioritize. I think that's what people misunderstand about online coaching.
Yeah, it's like I don't have.
Like, up until a few weeks ago, it was pretty much just you. Now you've got a bit of support with lead gen.
Yeah.
But you're still planning, filming, editing, posting, replying to messages, programming, taking care of clients, check-ins,
Marketing, emails.
which is an entire thing in itself, studying.
Trying to fit in actually me progressing my own knowledge of the field that I'm working in. Yeah, it's tough.
A lot for one person.
And that's what stresses me out. I think like just the fact that my daily tasks can take up the whole day.
Yeah.
Then nothing else progresses. Like, and as you said, until recently, I've been pretty much doing my own lead gen. Obviously, you were helping me with the lead gen. But now I've got Joanna on the team. She's doing a few hours and she's keeping everything structured. I can now focus on the bigger picture stuff. And that's like the last 2 weeks I've been doing that and having more time to focus on progressing the back end of the business and the future of the business instead of getting stuck into the daily tasks, which can take the whole day depending on what the day is. If I've got, like, on a Monday, I do all my video check-ins. So if I don't get that done by 10 o'clock, I've got calls from 9:30, 10 all the way through to 1. And then my clients then don't have their video check-in till later on in the afternoon and they might miss it. And my brain just, I put time frames and pressure on myself, which then I then stress more about. And yeah.
But the stress is like a fundamental part, because if you didn't have the stress, it would all fall apart. Like this kind of job is not for a relaxed kind of type B person. You have to be very, like, tightly strung, quite uptight, quite on the ball, which goes against how you might come across in your videos, like crazy, funny, everything's relaxed and happy. So it's kind of like the two parts of you, I think, that people don't see.
Yeah.
How serious you actually take this. Yeah. Because the videos are hilarious, but I think people don't realise how serious this is.
Yeah, there's no, I don't just pick up the camera and film a random video and post it.
Yeah.
Like, there's structure and there's reasoning, and more so now, like, with streamlining the business and the content towards more females, it's much easier because I can direct, obviously, the content and the message to the people that I want to, instead of trying to be broad and stuff. But yeah, I have don't play a character, because I'm still the same person. It's just heightened when I'm on the Instagram. And I always say to people on sales calls and on consultation, whatever, if you feel like I'm not the person that you see on Instagram and you don't want to work with me, that's absolutely fine. But I take pride in the fact that I am the same person with everyone that I ever meet, you know? And, like, everyone knows that person who's two-faced and whatever. Like, I just see, what's the point? Like, why would you try and play it? But I do have, like, obviously everyone's different. When they're on their own, they're a certain person. When they're with their close friends, they're a certain person. When they're with clients, or, like, for myself, like, obviously my clients, even though I know my clients really well, it's still like, they're like, oh, how you feeling? I'm like, yeah, I'm all good. Because it's not about me. When they're paying for my service. So it's not like I'm going to suddenly start unloading on them. Oh, really? I'm actually feeling really crap.
I'm having the worst day of my life.
Yeah, and they're just like, that's not what I asked for. I didn't ask for that.
Cool. So you've recently switched to female only. So now what's going to be different? Like, how is the content? What kind of content can we expect coming from you now? How are you going to, what bits get taken out and what bits get highlighted now that it's just female only?
Well, it's now going to be more about, like, the daily struggles that females come across. And, like, me and Joanna have found a really good sort of system through, like, the messages and then the content and how it all filters through. And, like, listening to Laura Lamp speak about it and going, whatever the messages or whatever the DMs are saying, the problems that they have in the DMs, that's what the content is next week. So that's almost the structure that we're going to be doing. But it's just like, and this is the problem, and I knew I was doing it, and I was almost just needed someone to be like, yeah, change this. I was like trying to be like, oh, female coach, all this. And then I would then post my own chest and triceps workout. And it's like, if I was like targeting guys who wanted to get in good shape, then that would be beneficial. But like me saying, oh, you want to lose loads of weight. And then there's me doing like 10 reps of 12. That didn't make sense either. You know what I'm saying?
What you mean.
Hypertrophy workouts.
Yeah.
And so now it's like, oh, you struggle with time, and how do we fit that around a schedule? And like, I'm going to do stuff on like period cycles and go into like female body compared to male body, and how sleep affects us, and mood swings, and even hormones and stuff like that. So I'm going to try make it so that a female will go, oh, that speaks to me. A guy would go, what was he talking about? That's almost what I want to try and do. And I wanted to do that for a while, but it was very difficult because I was trying to please everyone. And I'm very much a people pleaser. And that almost takes away from the business, because I'm trying to be, I want everyone to like the video. That's why I went through a phase of just selling my soul for like views, because I just wanted the next viral video or whatever. So that's why I got bollocked by Steve for jumping around the kitchen with no top on, with the Rode mic on my nipple. Go and have a look at the video if you want. It's funny, but then people were laughing at me. And then if you know me, it's like, Quinn's been an idiot. But some random is like, who is this man jumping around the kitchen with a Rode mic on his nipple? Like that's funny on surface level, but there's no value. There's no value.
Yeah.
And that's something that I'm definitely, every single video has a purpose now. And
Value.
Now it's not just like with the structure, I'm not just picking the camera up or phone and just trying to be funny. It's now a little bit more serious, because then on the TikTok I can be a little bit more natural and myself.
I think, so I'm obviously a female. I work with females, and it's more complex than coaching a male, you know? There's emotional issues, more mental kind of complexity issues, a lot of confidence, a lack of confidence, which is touchy, sensitive, and it was going to require a lot more emotional intelligence. Do you feel like you're equipped to help these women?
I do. And I, like personally, my own, like I'm not very insightful with my own feelings, but when it comes to someone else, I'm very good at giving advice.
I think you are more self-aware than you give yourself credit for. I think you are aware of your own feelings.
I just don't want to recognise them. That's just dangerous.
But so you believe you've got the emotional intelligence to pick up on what might actually be going on for a girl?
I think I have experience over the last year, or even longer than that, with female clients, and I feel like I can pick things up quite quickly. I'm not saying I'm the best, but I feel as though I have built up enough experience working with them over the last couple of months, really. But
this might be where like the more kind of gentle side of you has to come out, because if I'm a shy, timid female that's really struggling with my self-confidence, and there's this loud, confident, hilarious guy on Instagram, I might not be ready to open up.
Yeah.
So I guess this is where you need to kind of transition and show that side of yourself more to kind of be welcoming.
Yeah. Are you saying I'm not?
No, you are. I'm just thinking ahead. That was
Yeah. No, I do. I would love, this is the thing, I'd love for people to see how I am like with clients when I'm like through my content, but it's very difficult.
Yeah.
And that's not very easy to transmit. Like
it's going to be hard to kind of like transfer across, but
yeah. And that's obviously what like
more long
why
form,
we're doing this.
Yeah, more long form content for sure.
But like, I've thought about getting like having clients come up here and do this as well, because I can have a conversation with them, and like I know that my clients would say everything that I've needed, he's there, he's given, and he's there for me. And like I say to people, I'm the person I want you to lean on me. That's the point of what you're investing in. Do you know what I mean? If you don't have that person in your life that has the knowledge, has the support systems and holds you accountable, that is what you're investing in. Like, and if you want to progress, if you want to push yourself towards an end goal, you have to have those things. Otherwise, you're just gonna either spend 4 times the amount of time doing it and getting there, or you just won't do it at all. So I know that my clients would say he's provided everything, but again, when you see me just trying to make people laugh on Instagram, it doesn't translate. So that's the lessons that I've learned from content. Definitely is, even though I was putting hours into the content, it was almost not for nothing because it was still building up the business, but at the same time, I wasn't talking to the target market that I was going for.
What kind of traits would a girl have to succeed on your program?
Committed. There's absolutely no point, and this crosses over with not even just my program, just anything really. If you're not committed to something, you might as well not do it. If you're not going to go 100%, then there's no point doing it. I say to people, like when I'm talking to potential clients, I say, if you're on the fence, it's almost like, not that I don't want you on the program, but you're just wasting your own time. I only have people on the program who are like, yep, I want to change my life. This is what I want. And you're the coach that I want to help me change it. And the people who think like that and join the program from week 1, those are the people that have the transformations that I put on my Instagram, because those are the people that give everything to me. So I give everything back to them and invest as much time into them as possible. Like, if I got up a graph and said the people who use my services the most and the results that they get is just like this. The people that don't message me, don't check in, don't do anything, don't get results.
So being involved and being communicative and
exactly, yeah, and yeah, being
on it with the
being open with communication. That's something, and being honest. Like, I'm not gonna strike anyone down who slips and has a take on the weekend. Like, it's just a normal thing. And I say, like, as long as you work to 80%, you'll still get results. And that's where you might have a little slip up. You might be out and have a few more drinks and the next day you're hungover. But that's where you need to just be like, yeah, that's happened. That's cool. And that's where you won't be able to just do that from the start. And I have clients who come in and they're like very worried, even throughout the whole program. Like, I've worked closely with a lot of my clients who have struggled with binge eating and feeling like that they've ruined their progress by one day. And it's just about reinforcing the mindset of you don't have to be eating chicken and rice every single day of the week to get progress. And it's just being in that sort of zone between where you can sustain it, where you're actually losing body fat or gaining muscle, but sustaining the lifestyle. And that's what we work a lot on and that's why I did actually extend my program to 6 months. So it was 3 months when I first started, and it was like people were getting results, but they weren't able to maintain it after the 3 months, because it was like almost like a not a quick fix, but like they would just nail 12 weeks and they'd be like, oh cool, I've got a great physique now. But then there's not the like I call it the confidence phase, which is where you build on on the body you've built, or we continue to lose body fat, and then we get to the maintenance phase, which is where you learn how you actually can maintain, because you can't be in a calorie deficit for the rest of your life. There'll be nothing left of you after a while. So, and what people don't understand is you can't go from a calorie deficit, and if you don't know how to maintain that physique that you've got, you will just revert back to what you know. And if that's a calorie deficit, you'll do that, and then you get bored and burnt out of that, and then suddenly you're back to not tracking your calories, not going to the gym, all this sort of stuff. So at the end of the C90, I know my clients will be able to continue that, and I work very closely with each of my clients when they come to the end of their program to make sure that they are set up and equipped with everything that they could need.
Do you think you can relate to a woman that has got really difficult body image and a really damaged relationship with food?
Relate? I can relate with body image. I personally, like, everyone who goes to the gym, I'm not going to put labels on everyone, but I've suffered with body dysmorphia, body image and stuff. And that's why I started going to the gym and always striving for more and trying to be in better shape. And I've done the yo-yos, like smashed it, got in good shape, and then suddenly I drop off. And I've done that plenty of times. I've never really had a bad relationship myself with food, but because I've worked with a number of females and guys who have had really, really bad relationships, whether that's self-inflicted or whether that's just naturally from maybe parents. And like I've had people who are ex-dancers and stuff like that. Like those girls who are ex-dancers just are normally have a really, really bad relationship just because of the fact that they're like, yeah, we weren't allowed to eat when we were younger. And that's something that comes up quite a lot. So I not particularly relate to myself, but I know how to navigate that and deal with that when it comes to someone on the program. And people might think that they're in a situation where they're like, I need a coach who gets me. And they're like, oh, that geezer's never going to get me. And I'm like, yeah, like I've grown up with sisters. Like I grew up with a sister. I've got 2 little sisters and a little brother. So I've grown up around females. So I understand a lot more than if someone was to grow up around with like brothers and stuff like that. And I feel like I am very understanding and I'm very easy to talk to. And once someone gets past not into the program, but when someone gets past the fact that I'm a guy, I might look scary, I might be like this loud person on the Instagram, but really when they get to know me and when they have a conversation with me, they're like, you don't understand the amount of people who say to me, I thought you were going to be a knob.
I said, you're so much more relaxed in real life. Like, you're so much more chilled. Like, the first time I met, I don't know what I was expecting, whether I was expecting you to, like, bounce in, cracking jokes and stuff. But I was like, he's so chilled.
Yeah. I'm not, well, my brain isn't chilled. I'm just like, I need to be composed in this situation. But, like, so many people, like, when I joined uni, I had so many people that were like, who told me, like, 6 months down the line, they were like, yeah, when I first saw you, I thought, what a knob. They just automatically think I'm going to be this, like
cocky.
Yeah. And I'm just like,
you do the complete opposite.
Yeah. And I don't see myself as that. So
yeah, because you're not that. That's why.
Yeah, I'm not. But that's something that I get all the time. They're like, oh, I thought you were going to be this, but you're not.
Yeah,
and I'm like,
but everyone has first impressions, like, and they're usually always wrong. Like the amount of people that tell me, like, I thought you were such a boring, like, bitch. Like, Steve actually said that to me. He was like, you come across as such a boring cunt on your Instagram. And he was like,
that's just because you're not used to doing content. So you're just like, I've got it out. I don't even, that's why when you don't even look at it before you post it.
He was like, I thought you were so hard work, like so blunt at first. But a lot of people say that, like, you're actually really nice. And I'm like, what did you think?
Just come across. I just was looking at your content and I was like, I just know she struggles with content. That's all it was. I could just see the struggles with content.
I hate it so much. But I'm getting better day by day. So, pinned to the top of your profile, amongst all the other transformations, we have yourself.
Oh, no. Yes.
Like, obviously, there's not a great deal of time between these pictures. What is it, like a month, a year? Not a month, a year, 2 years?
The first picture was during lockdown in 2020. And then the second picture was...
this summer just gone?
Yeah, summer just gone. So 18 months.
Yeah. So, like, what are the differences between those two people? Even if it's just in terms of your daily habits and your daily actions.
Okay, so the first person was... I had... during lockdown, obviously, a lot of people couldn't go to the gym. I had a gym in the garage, fully equipped. Didn't use it once, but maybe a handful of times in the whole of the 4 months we were in lockdown. That person, thank you very much. That's the right one.
Yes. Oof, look at that.
Oh, God. So the first picture is, the posture is so bad, but it's just someone
it's like a different person.
It's like podgy.
The tan helps.
The tan, there is a filter on that right picture as well. I had my stepmom and my little sister both go, have you been on the sunbed? I was like, no, it's just a filter. I can show you the original, but it's not as interesting as that.
It's not like the guy on the left is like terribly out of shape. That's just like an average person.
So like, I've always played sports and I've always been in the gym. Like for as long as I can, since 15, I have probably been in the gym at least once or twice a week, every week. Like maybe a month here and there, like during the first lockdown stuff. So I've got like muscle mass that is just that stays there, do you know? And then but that person was lazy, didn't lack discipline. I just wake up, do what I needed to do, like didn't have any career aspirations, didn't have any drive. I just wake up. During then I was drinking quite a lot, like just because I know everyone says, oh, it's lockdown, but that person, I'm completely different. And now you're saying this. I see myself as that same person, and this is why I still, although it looks different on there, I genuinely
really.
That's why my.
I have clients say this a lot as well. They still feel like the original.
Yeah.
But it's completely different.
Yeah.
And obviously you're doing different things every day. You're obviously training harder. You're obviously eating better. That requires a different mindset altogether.
Yeah. There are obviously my days. If you'd have told me 12 months ago that I'd be sat in a podcast studio recording about my business,
the same,
I'd have been like, what are you talking about? Like, there's no chance. I knew that I could do that if I wanted to. My teachers and mum and everyone in my life has always said has potential, but I've never really found something. It's always been sports, like American football. When I first picked up American football, I had the athleticism to play sports. Like I'm just that annoying kid who it's like, oh, Quinn's good at that as well. Like that, and that's all my mates are like, always take the mick. They're like, oh, of course he's good at it. Like that's what I've grown up with. So when I picked up American football, I was like, I love this and I can do it very well. And that's why I went, like I turned into I was obsessed with it. And I feel like I definitely get obsessed with things and get really good at them. But then it's just maintaining it for a long period of time.
So was that physique achieved through American football, or was that through like more bodybuilding style training?
No, so that's a combination. So I've always done bodybuilding and like hypertrophy, like in the gym, 3 sets of 12, right? That's what I've done since I was younger. And I've tried to do different things. Like me and my mates always joke that when I was training, like when I was playing American football, I'd be training explosively and doing all these plyometrics, but I've got bad joints, my hips and knees and shoulders can't deal with these explosive movements. So it's all been bodybuilding. And then up until 8 months ago, I was doing, well, for the last 8 months, so I've been doing functional training and then recently just moved to CrossFit. So that physique has been 8 years in the making. It was just everything came together at the right time.
It was like fine-tuned in that time.
Yeah.
And how about your diet? How did your diet change in that time?
The first one I was like not even tracking, not going through how to optimize my diet at all. And then slowly but surely, like I need to have a goal. And if I don't have a goal, and this is like anyone, like if you don't have a goal, you don't know where you're going. So when I first started functional stuff, we'd signed up to the NFG, National Fitness Games, and I was going to compete in that. And then suddenly I was like, right, my diet completely changed, or opted for what I needed, a lot more energy, a lot more calories. So was good for that. And I was doing a lot of training, so I needed to increase calories because my training load went up. And then once that finished, I was like, okay, so I had a half marathon and high rocks as well. So I almost continued it. But my training changed. So like I have trained completely 3 or 4 different ways within the last year, which it's hard to keep track of things. So it's not like I'm a bodybuilder and I just want to get as big as possible.
But you've always been pushing yourself like to your limits because you've had these events coming up and stuff. Yeah.
And before I did functional, I did powerlifting for a bit. I was like eating 4,000 calories. I was like 97 kgs. I was my neck's like this. It's like I've got a neck brace on, but I was strong. Like that was the point of it. And then I stopped doing that because I was just like, oh, I feel sluggish. I feel pretty horrible.
Heavy.
Yeah. So I started doing functional stuff and burning more calories. And so you just need to know what you want. And if you want to get stronger, or if you want to grow muscle, then you need to make sure you're eating and lifting weights. If you want to get better at running, get running. If you want to get good at CrossFit, just go and do CrossFit. You can't just expect to be like I don't expect to be good at CrossFit. I'm not good at CrossFit. Like I say yet, like I'm going to start competing,
Yeah.
but it's something I do want to do. Like I can't just, I won't do something if I know that I'm going to be average at it, or because what's the point? Why would I want to be average at something? So I'm like, I'll make sure and I'll push myself to being the best at everything I do, which is where I then pressure myself to be the best, and then I compete with the best, and then that just is good. Because like with American football, I was like, I want to be the best at this, so I would obsess with it. I'd watch so much tape, like film on it, and I'd see how the receivers in the NFL would like get around, like beat their man, and I would start like doing that in training and games. And like my quarterback's over there, or one of them, you know, and we were smashing teams because we were absolutely obsessed with it. Yeah. And now I've moved from that to now business. I'm all, like, I was replicating the NFL players who were like the top of the game. They get paid millions and that's their job. I was replicating them in university. Now I'm looking at the top level coaches, what they do, Steve, how he's managed to build up his business. I'm looking at all of these people who are miles ahead and more experienced and been doing it way longer than me. And I'm competing with them in my own head. And so if I'm not doing what they're doing, then I'm losing.
Yeah.
But also there's a lot more to, like, I'm on my own. I do my own stuff most of the time. But
you're always looking up to the people that are
I'm very much glass half empty. I'm like, what can I have done better?
But I think you're also just driven to get into that point. That you're not comparing yourself to them to make yourself feel shit. You're comparing yourself to them to push yourself to be at that level. Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's healthy.
Yeah. I was saying earlier about the 33% rule, or the rule of thirds. It's like spend 30% of your time with people who you can teach and can learn from you. So you can almost learn from teaching. 33% of the time spending it with people like peers who are in the same position, so you can bounce off each other, push each other, but also support each other. And then the final third is hanging around with people who you can learn from and are where you want to be. Because if you don't know where you want to be, you can't get there. And if you don't know how to get there, you're going to ask someone who does.
Yeah.
And that's why investing in yourself and being able to say, yes, I don't know what to do. I'm going to invest time and effort and money into whatever it might be. Like, I will now always work with a coach. Like,
yeah, me too.
Professional athletes, they have coaches. Like, but then your average, I don't want to say names, but like, what's that? Sally. But Sally.
Your average Joe.
Your average Joe, but obviously I'm female coach now.
Oh, yeah, Joanna.
Okay, your average Joanna, right, thinks that she can get Tammy Hembrow's physique on her own.
No one can get that without surgery.
No, I know, yeah. There is that. But at the same time, like, I know if I wanted to get in really good shape, I would use a coach, because I don't know how to fine tune it to the point where it's like stage competition. I'm not, I don't claim to be like that. So someone who doesn't even know what a calorie is, but suddenly goes, I'm going to do it on my own. And it's almost like I'm going to do it on my own. I want to be the only person on the top of the hill at the end of it. Like, there's so many.
It doesn't work.
Nah, my business is Quinn Training, right? There is currently and will be and has been so many people that has kept me on the straight and narrow. You know, like, there's been so many times, especially before I was doing all this. This is like when I was PTing and I was living at Virginia House, which is where the gym was as well. Like, there was some times where it was like, I'm going to quit and move back to Surrey. Like, genuinely, there was times where I was like, yeah, this ain't going to work. And I even sat on a call with Shannon, and this is where, I can't remember what it was, but it just weren't going well. But it probably was going well. I just was not seeing
You
the benefits.
Is this when you'd already started your online?
Yeah. So this is where I think I'd been with I'd had like one VA, and then another one came in, and there was just a period where everything dipped. And I'd done, and actually no, I think I'd done like 2 good months to start with. Like that's obviously like I went from 0 to like 7K in the first month, and then it dropped down to like 5. But because I'd hit 7,
that
I
seems
thought
like
that's
failure.
and I was like, oh, that's rubbish. And so I remember distinctly sitting on a call with Shannon and saying, I'm on a sinking ship here. Like I felt like I was genuinely, that's it, that's me done. I got a good few months out of it. And it's like, I can't compute that it can't always be progression. Like that to me it just doesn't work for me. My brain doesn't let me go, it's okay, don't worry, we've got it like next month. I'm like, I'm so impatient. That's what it boils down to. I'm so impatient. I'm like, it has to be now. Otherwise, what's the point?
Like, you need to be at like, I know what you mean.
It's good you know what I mean. Because
no one else does.
Anyone else is watching, they don't have a clue.
No, okay, this is a good question, actually.
Oh, God.
So, C90, QPT, you have this idea, you've got this business in mind. You invest in a very expensive business mentor way before you can afford to. That's not necessarily that you believed in yourself, you believed in your program. Why? Because,
well, I'm not reinventing the wheel, and online coaches can't say that their program is the new thing that's completely changed. And that's why when you see like businesses pop up and it's like, try this new training, it's like, it's not new training, it's just the same thing, just packaged differently. I know with my ability to coach and my drive to make sure my clients get the best program and service, that people will get results. So even when my program was on Google Sheets and it was like you tracked everything each day and it wasn't all the sleek stuff that I use now, I knew that if, as I said, someone gave me 100%, they would get results. And it was like, I'm very much impulsive. So maybe paying the deposit for the mentorship wasn't the best financial decision at that time. Like I used my last 500 quid to put a deposit down to be on the program. Then I went skiing, like Steve mentioned on the thing. And then I got back and I was like, right, I genuinely, this is what people don't understand. When I signed up to the program, I paid my last 500 quid to get onto the program. I went home. I got my bike from home because I was like, I'm going to stop driving my car for petrol in case it breaks. I can't afford all this. Because I didn't realize how the success it would have even in the first month, you know? So you've got to put yourself out there, and you have to commit to yourself and say, this is what I want. If that's what you want, give everything you've got to it. Don't half-ass something. If I'd have half-assed it and not spent 6 to 8 hours a day doing lead gen, finding clients, putting out content, like the business wouldn't be where it is now. Like, and I'm happy that I've been able to do what I have, do what I have done so far, because it's been, that's not the right way of saying that. I'm happy with the work that I've put in because it's got me to here. Like I'm like, I could have given myself a day off, and it's like, yeah, but in my head, if that day off could have been so detrimental in the long run. Like that's why when it's like I've got 5 minutes spare, some people will be like, oh, just have a sit down and relax. I'm like, I can write a list for the next thing that I'm doing tomorrow, or I always feel like there's always more to do. And
I think that's what it takes, ultimately.
Yeah, definitely. I look up to people who are in that position because, well, successful people I look up to. Like, I was speaking to my therapist the other day about my dad and stuff. He's an ultra successful guy in the business, consultancy sector. We used to say he sells people. Hopefully he doesn't actually do that. But when he was like, he would like obviously hire out consultants, right? I'm hoping my father isn't in the trafficking industry. I'll have to speak to him about that. But like he's got the lifestyle. He's retired at 57, nearly 60. Old man. I'm hoping he sees this. But like he's worked hard, and now at 57 he does nothing. Like he does consultancy and stuff like that. But it's something that I almost am like, that's the norm.
It's set the standard.
Yeah. And I'm like, until I get to that point, I need to work harder.
You need to keep going.
Yeah, and that's definitely something that is causing me to push myself to limits in terms of working, and with my impatience and the fact that he's 57 and he's retired, and I'm like, I'm only 24, nearly 25. I've still got nearly 50. No, not 50 years. That's bad maths.
You've got about 32 years.
Yeah, 32 years to build up. Yeah, and when you say it like that, it sounds so stupid. But in my head, I'm like, tomorrow I need to have £1 million in the bank. That's what I need.
But if you keep going on the trajectory that you're on now, I'm sure that by 57 you will be in a similar position.
Well, let's hope so. If not, then I've wasted my life. But